Hello and welcome to the April 27th, 2025 episode of Nick's News. I am your host, Nick, and this is Producer Donna. We're live every Sunday, and we thank you all so much for tuning in or catching the replay on the Nick's News YouTube page. That's right, we are streaming exclusively on YouTube. We're live every Sunday, and we thank you all so... Oh, wait, I said that already. This is a program dedicated to bringing good news to counter all of the bad news that we are bombarded with on a daily basis, with the hope of bringing a little bit of joy back to the world. Several of our articles are pulled from sites like goodnewsnetwork.org and goodgoodgood.co, but we appreciate everything sent in by you, the viewers. Hello, Nico, in the chat. So yes, this is a special episode. As some of you know, Producer Donna was in town, so she has joined us for an episode of Nick's News tonight. So, we'll start off with our news brews. That's right, news brews. This is a special occasion. I will not be drinking alone. Not to say that some of you don't imbibe while I am doing my live stream, but because it's a special occasion, we have some special beer. So, we have two news brews. I will be enjoying barrel-aged Speedway Stout by Alesmith Brewing Company, which is a 13.3% ABV high-octane imperial stout. And Producer Donna will be enjoying, let me let it zoom in, juicy Bartlett Pear Cider. Oh, it really doesn't like to zoom in on that can. Come on. Come on. Come on, it's trying. There we go. From Growers Cider Company. This is a much more modest but enjoyable, now it's got to reacclimate again. There we go. This is a nice 5% ABV cider. So, I, with my heavy stout, will be drinking from the limited edition Harpoon Snifter. And because Producer Donna is a queen, she will be drinking from a goblet. Let's blow the gain on the audio twice. Get into the theatrics of however long this is going to take pour. First pour, my beer. Motor oil. Pure, unfiltered motor oil. They don't call it Speedway Stout for nothing. Every last drop. Nico in the chat, yes, queen. There's mine. And now for Producer Donna's. Yeah, that maxed the audio out. Oh my gosh, it looks like water. It looks like delicious sugary water.
You can taste it.
No, this is entirely for you, and you gave me another can of it. I will drink that. Oh my gosh, look how clear it is.
It's pear.
I'm not used to liquids this clear on this on this show. There you go, Producer Donna.
Thank you.
Hey, Julie. Hey, Becky. All right, so shout-outs. Pirate Cat's Treasure, owned by Producer Donna, firmly believes everyone deserves the opportunity to be beautiful, fun, funky, sparkly, geeky, strong, or whatever makes you feel awesome. Within a budget that won't hurt. They love helping you express who you truly are. Check them out for homemade jewelry, dice boxes, and home decor. In terms of jewelry, I wear one on every episode. This nice bracelet right here, in beautiful purples and silvers and black, was made by Producer Donna, and I absolutely love it. She also made an item that may show up as a merchandise item. Some of you already have one. The Nick's News Nick keychain. That's right, this is supposed to be a keychain of me with my black hair, my usually black Under Armour shirt, but I went with a nice red polo tonight because it's such a fantastic occasion. And nobody knows what I wear below the waist because I never stand up during episodes, but it's mostly like blue pajama pants because I want to be comfy while I broadcast. So these might show up later, but Producer Donna with Pirate Cat's Treasure makes all sorts of crazy awesome stuff. Some of it's themed off of like video games and things like that. Other stuff is just incredible creations, and if you want to update your decor or your look, by all means check them out. Link in the description. And I noticed that I have the links stacked side by side. I'll have to change that in post. We also have a Happy Nick's News-iversary. And this is a Happy Nick's News-iversary to our artist Grayson and producer Donna. Back on May 3rd of 2024, producer Donna and artist Grayson unveiled the new banner for Nick's News, and thus changed Nick's News from being a solo venture to a team effort, and it has been amazing ever since. I cannot thank artist Grayson and producer Donna enough for everything they do. It has made my dream become even more of a reality to be doing this incredible Hope Corps stuff and getting good news out there. And everything they've done has just improved our broadcast. So, to producer Donna and artist Grayson on their Nick's News-iversary on May 3rd, cheers. Chin chin. Yeah, it's high octane, all right. If you remember earlier in the previous episodes, I had stated that each episode, my news brew is only going to climb in ABV at 13.3%. Oh, we're getting into the danger zone, folks. Next up, a huge thank you to everybody that was able to attend the first Nick's News meet and greet. It was a fantastic time. It was absolutely amazing. Producer Donna is very thankful for everybody and was very thankful to have met you all.
It was fun.
Oh.
It was a lot of fun.
Good. Hello, Dirty Rogue. Nick's merch. Yeah. Artist Grayson and my sister-in-law Anna have produced a lot of art for Nick's News. Artist Grayson, it's more visible. It's our logo, it's our new banner, but my sister-in-law Anna produced a bunch of art for us specifically for merchandise. And some of that art is going to show up on future installments of Nick's News, but they made some great stuff for us, and I wanted to show off a little bit of it. So there were some fantastic stickers, the Good News logo, there we go. The other Good News logo, the Nick's News logo, and then Anna produced the News Brew sticker, the obligatory cat article sticker, and the Not All Heroes Wear Capes sticker. And these are absolutely amazing. So some of that was in the swag bag. And then the other thing that was in the swag bag for this meet and greet, the kind of like the limited edition thing for the meet and greet, was a magnet. A refrigerator magnet of me in the goat onesie. And it says, "Structures that effectively filter stress." So, if you were able to go to the meet and greet, you were able to get your hands on this. Each meet and greet that we do is going to have its own kind of like chase item. So, this is like the chase item for that one. Other stuff will show up, and we thank you all again. It was a blast. It was fantastic. The other merchandise, the magnet is a must-have. Thanks, Julie. The other merchandise, so all those stickers that I just showed off, a lot of that is going to go live on May 4th. It is a small merchandise release. It's not anything to break your bank. It's, we're really just trying to get stuff out there. So it's really cool that we have an opportunity to do merchandise. So a huge thank you to artist Grayson and to Anna for producing the art that is going to make this merchandise. And a huge thank you to all of you who showed up for the first meet and greet. Cheers.
I don't have to keep up with you, do I?
I don't encourage you to try. Julie, if you want to post the one you snagged, if you want to post a picture of it to Nick's News, by all means. Next shout out. I think this is our last shout out. Yes, right? Yes. Our last shout out is to my alma mater, Grand Valley State University, which was just celebrating this last weekend. They were just celebrating their winter commencement of 2025. So to all of the graduates from my alma mater, Grand Valley State University, who have made it through, congratulations. Go out into the world and change things. Lakers for life. Cheers. Oh, that beer is racing. It is a race to the finish. Wow. That is not afraid to be strong. All right. News quote. I've been searching for ways to heal myself, and I've found that kindness is the best way. That quote comes from Stephanie Joanne Angelina Germanotta, who's known professionally as Lady Gaga, who is an American singer, songwriter, and actress. And I feel like that one speaks some pretty heavy volumes, especially when you may be in that position in your life where you are healing from things. And everyone has their own way to heal. I actually find that this one really is kind of one for me too. So I've been searching for ways to heal myself, and I found that kindness is the best way. So Lady Gaga, thank you very much for that quote. Lastly, the bug update. Still no Elmira hug and kiss. She's still sleeping. But I think earlier, might have heard her. She makes very distinct noises. Hopefully she will be waking up soon. I have learned that giant vinegaroons like her are very finicky about their conditions for when they wake up. So we will keep an eye out, see if she comes out. Her emergence is going to be up to her and her, the grace, whether she wants to grace us with her presence. Sue hasn't complained as of late, which is great because when he complains, things die. Ripley is on the hunt, which is fascinating to watch. She's been very active as of late. And there's been another chirping cricket. Another singing cricket has been sacrificed to her. And hopefully she will snag it soon. Maybe even during the broadcast. Who knows? Mantis McLeod is still with us. He's doing great. He's still eating, and he's still active. So that's really cool that our resident mantis is still with us. Again, he's a male mantis, so they don't tend to live as long as the females do, but he's hanging on, and he is cool as ever. So he is still playing the great game. All is good with the bugs. Okay. So with that, we're going to get into our broadcast, our good news broadcast. And it's broken up into 4 major categories. And those categories are science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and wholesome notes, the really nice touchy-feely articles we like to end on. So we're going to start with category 1, science and technology. And we call this first one, nuclear-powered awesome. And I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. There's the chat. China builds world's first working thorium reactor using declassified U.S. documents. This was posted to Interesting Engineering, and it was updated on April 17th of 2025 by Amir Kalam. Chinese scientists have completed a major breakthrough in clean energy by reloading fresh fuel into a working thorium molten salt reactor. If you have not heard about thorium molten salt reactors, look them up. This is technology that I believe dates back to like the 50s and 60s. It has been extremely promising nuclear energy production. However, it has some issues. It has some technological issues that had to be overcome. We are getting into the point where it is becoming a reality, and it is awesome. And I hope that more of these pop up. What'd you say, Producer Donna? That one makes me laugh every time I look at it. It had to be the first.
The magnet.
Oh, the magnet. This magnet of me in a goat onesie.
Yeah, but the quote's too perfect.
That is true. Yeah, I can't believe the caption came across that at that time. All right, back to the article. They did this while the reactor continued running, making a significant step forward in the global push to use thorium as a safer and more abundant alternative to uranium in nuclear power. So that's another big thing. Reloading the reactor while it was in operation. The milestone was revealed at a closed-door meeting on April 8th at the Chinese Academy of Sciences, or the CAS, where Project Chief Scientist Zhu Hongji shared the news with colleagues. According to Guangming Daily, the experimental unit is located in the Gobi Desert and generates 2 megawatts of thermal power. It uses molten salt to carry the fuel and manage heat, while thorium serves as the radioactive fuel source. Becky, next one needs to be my engineering pose. That's a good idea. Experts have long viewed thorium reactors as the next leap in energy innovation. Some scientists estimate that a single thorium-rich mine in Inner Mongolia could theoretically supply China's energy needs for tens of thousands of years, with far less radioactive waste than current uranium-based reactors. Zhu declared that China had moved into the global lead. "We now lead the global frontier," he said at the meeting. Comparing the international race to a classic fable, he added, "Rabbits sometimes make mistakes or grow lazy. That's when the tortoise seizes its chance." Thorium offers several advantages over uranium as a nuclear fuel. It is far more abundant in the Earth's crust and produces less long-lived radioactive waste. Its byproducts are less suitable for weaponization, which is great, which reduces security risks. When paired with molten salt technology, the reactor design operates at atmospheric pressure and naturally limits overheating, improving overall safety. These features make thorium reactors appealing in a world pushing for clean and secure energy solutions or sources. Engineering the Superman pose or the engineering pose. In the 1960s, American researchers built and tested early molten salt reactors, but the United States eventually shelved the program in favor of uranium-based technology. The U.S. left its research publicly available, waiting for the right successor. Zhu said, "We were that successor." Zhu and his team at the CAS Shanghai Institute of Applied Physics studied declassified American documents, recreated the old experiments, and then developed the technology further. "We mastered every technique in the literature, then pushed it further," he said. The team's efforts ramped up quickly. Construction on the current reactor began in 2018, and the team grew from a few dozen researchers to more than 400. Many skipped holidays and stayed on site for most of the year. The reactor reached criticality in October of 2023, achieved full power operation by June of 2024, and successfully completed its in-operation thorium reloading just 4 months later. That is awesome. Zhu said they chose the harder but more meaningful road by focusing on building a real-world solution rather than chasing only academic results. "We chose the hardest path, but the right one," he said. He also pointed out the symbolic timing, noting that 57 years ago to the day, June 17th, China detonated its first hydrogen bomb. Now China is aiming for a similar disruptive effect in the global energy market. The country is already building a much larger thorium molten salt reactor that is scheduled to reach criticality by 2030 and generate 10 megawatts of electricity. That is awesome. Well, to everybody involved with the Chinese Academy of Sciences in getting a molten salt reactor reloaded, a first in the world. Cheers. Nico in the chat, "This is really exciting technology." Yes, it is. There has been a very large resurgence of information and interest in thorium molten salt. One of the biggest problems with all that is when you think, salt, super corrosive. Now make it molten, like lava. A lot of applications to overcome there. A lot of problems to overcome with it. Hello, Charlie. To quote The Miz, "It's awesome!" I don't remember what The Miz does with his hands. It's been a long time since I watched wrestling. But yeah, molten salt's pretty cool. All right. We're going to move on to our second article in Science and Technology, and we call this one, "High Entropy Alloy Sounds Like a Flex." And I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. Oh, you're getting lots of hellos.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Charlie.
Korean scientists develop super metal that remains strong no matter the temperature. This was posted to SciTech Daily on April 22nd of 2025 by the Pohang University of Science and Technology, Post-Tech. Jazz hands. A research team at Post-Tech, the Pohang University of Science and Technology, led by Professor Hyung-Sup Kim from the Department of Material Science and Engineering, the Graduate Institute of Ferrous Technology, and the Department of Mechanical Engineering, has developed a groundbreaking alloy that retains both strength and ductility across a wide temperature range from negative 196 to 600 degrees Celsius. Celsius. Negative 196 Celsius to Fahrenheit. That's negative 321 degrees Fahrenheit to 1,112 degrees Fahrenheit. Holy crap. Wait, no spirit fingers, says Charlie. Their findings, which hold significant promise for the aerospace and automotive industries, were published in the international journal Materials Research Letters. Most commonly used metals are highly sensitive to temperature change. For example, a metal doorknob can feel freezing in winter and scorching in summer. As a result, conventional metal materials are typically engineered to perform well only within a limited temperature range, making them unsuitable for environments with extreme or fluctuating temperatures. To overcome the challenge, the post-tech research team introduced the concept of the hyper-adapter and developed a nickel-based high-entropy alloy, or HEA, that embodies this idea. I failed to mention. Donna, you're right there. I know he has Nerf guns. They're hidden. The Nerf guns are hidden for a reason. I don't want to get shot when I screw up a name. There are also boffer weapons hidden. Everything is hidden in this house for reasons.
Not everything. I have a stick.
Don't poke me with a stick. It's every human's God-given right to poke things with a stick. All right, back to the article. Charlie's about to get you a wizard hat. The newly developed HEA demonstrates nearly constant mechanical performances across a wide temperature range, from cryogenic conditions at negative 196 degrees Celsius, or 77 Kelvin, or, as we just found out, negative 321 Fahrenheit, to high heat at 600 degrees Celsius, or 873 Kelvin, or, as we just found out by doing the math, 1,112 degrees Fahrenheit. This remarkable stability is attributed to the presence of nanoscale L12 precipitates, which are uniformly distributed within the alloy. It's basically, you've got metal, and when you think of metal, if you remember from science class back in the day, metals have all of their atoms arranged in a very specific stack. It's really structured. When you alloy something, you're putting other atoms into the spaces between those other atoms, and you're changing that structure. So what they're fitting are these tiny, tiny little L12 precipitates into the alloy matrix, and thus making it stronger and making it better when temperature comes. Instead of becoming brittle in the cold or super flexible in the heat, it's kind of all holding together the same, which is really cool. Why is it so spicy, says Charlie. These fine particles act as reinforcements that inhibit deformation, while the alloy's internal structure accommodates stress through consistent slip behavior, regardless of temperature. And yes, because it is engineering. This development holds significant promise for applications that involve sudden or extreme temperature changes, such as rocket or jet engines, automotive exhaust systems, power plant turbines, and pipelines. This alloy's ability to maintain stable performance under such conditions can greatly enhance both safety and efficiency in these demanding environments. Our HEA breaks through the limitations of existing alloys and establishes a new class of temperature-insensitive materials, said Professor Kim. The hyperadapter concept represents a breakthrough in developing next-generation materials with consistent mechanical behavior even under extreme conditions. That is awesome. To everybody, I thought my coaster came with me for a second. To everybody at the Pohang University of Science and Technology for using hyperadapters to create flexible, strong metals despite temperature. Cheers. All right, that's going to get us out of science and technology. We're going to move on to category 2, health and medicine. And we've got one article here, and we called it Wolverine's Dental Plan. And I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. Filling the gaps. Lab-grown teeth move a step closer to becoming reality. This was posted to Interesting Engineering. We got a lot of engineering tonight.
3 articles so far.
It was updated on April 22nd of 2025 by Nitika Walter. And to cover our bases, we believe it was
Ben.
Nick's Newsy Ben who sent us an article about this a while ago. Like last year, was it? Or earlier this year? So the technology at the time wasn't where it is now. So we didn't do the article then, but we wanted to give credit where credit's due. Ben, thank you for sending in that previous article. Now the technology is where it needs to be for us to call it good news. What if a missing tooth could be regrown, not by nature, but in a lab using your own cells? Scientists at King's College London have found a way to grow living teeth in the lab, bringing this possibility closer to reality. In their latest study, the team at King's College London, working with Imperial College London, made a breakthrough in replicating the environment required to grow teeth in a lab. They introduced Julie said adamantium braces. That'd be awesome. They introduced a specialized material that allows cells to communicate with one another, enabling one cell to signal another to begin transforming into a tooth cell. By mimicking the natural conditions of early tooth development, this innovation brings scientists closer to recreating the process of tooth formation outside of the body. These bio-engineered teeth could one day replace fillings and implants, offering a more natural and durable alternative to today's dental fixes. Fillings are not an ideal solution for repairing teeth, as they weaken tooth structure over time, have a limited lifespan, and can lead to further decay or sensitivity. Implants require invasive surgery and a proper combination within the alveolar bone. Alveolar? Bueller? Alveolar? Alveolar? Alveolar?
Alveolar? I have a correction. It was Edward.
Bueller? Oh, it was Ed? Oh, Ben, you send great stuff too. Ed, thanks for sending the previous article. Both fillings and implants are artificial and do not fully restore the natural function of teeth, potentially leading to long-term complications. We developed this material in collaboration with Imperial College, cue the Imperial March, to replicate the environment around the cells in the body. Oh no, naturable is now a word, says Becky. Julie says, ooh, says the girl who has an implant that sounds really cool. Charlie, so many scientific horror movie scenarios are flying through my brain right now. Ugh, when they all involve teeth. This meant that when introduced... where's this quote? I'm going to start this quote over again. We developed this material in collaboration with Imperial College to replicate the environment around the cells in the body, known as the matrix. Wait, what? This meant that when we introduced the cultured cells, they were able to send signals to each other to start the tooth formation process, Zhu-Shen Zhang from King's College London's Faculty of Dentistry, Oral and Craniofacial Sciences said in a release. Previous attempts had failed, as all the signals were sent in one go. This new material releases signals slowly over time, replicating what happens in the body. Having successfully recreated the conditions for tooth growth in the lab, scientists now face the challenge of transferring these lab-grown teeth into patients' mouths. Zhu Shen said the team is exploring multiple approaches to tackle this challenge. Charlie, my shiny teeth that sparkle just like the stars in space. We have different ideas to put the teeth inside the mouth. We could transplant the young tooth cells at the location of the missing tooth and let them grow inside the mouth. Alternatively, we could create the whole tooth in the lab before placing it in the patient's mouth. For both options, we need to start the very early tooth development process in the lab. This research is part of the broader field of regenerative medicine, which seeks to harness the body's own biology to repair or replace damaged tissues. Rather than depending on artificial solutions like metal implants or dentures, scientists are developing natural replacements using stem cells and bio-engineered environments. As the field progresses, the integration of such innovative techniques holds the potential to revolutionize dental care, offering sustainable and effective solutions for tooth repair and regeneration. The corresponding author of the paper, Dr. Anna Angelova Volponi, said, "The work being conducted at the Faculty of Dentistry, Oral and Craniofacial Sciences at King's College London exemplifies the cutting-edge research driving this transformation, highlighting our faculty's commitment to advancing oral health through scientific discovery." That is awesome. Julie, cue the Cheshire Cat grin. To everybody involved with the study and creation of real teeth in an artificial setting, and how that science is progressing to eventually help with tooth replacement for those who lose a few. Cheers. Okay, so that's going to get us out of health and medicine. We're going to move on to category 3, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals. We have one article, and it is a long one, but bear with us, it's really good stuff. We called it, "Beavers Aren't Nature's Only," say it with me,
engineers.
Engineers. I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. Just wait until they start doing custom teeth for the vampire fans. No, I got these through genetics. I got my pointy canines the normal way. I'll copy and paste that in the chat if y'all want to read along. How alligators are breathing life into Florida's Everglades. From the edge of the Miccosukee Indian Reservation in the north of the Florida Everglades, it is a short fan boat ride through grassy swamp to get to an island that 18-year-old Hector Tigertail's family visit each year. A name like Hector Tigertail is awesome. For decades, this family, Hammock, as the tree-covered islands that poke out from the Everglades are known, has been their retreat. Dirty Rogue says, "Can we get t-shirts that say Snap Engineer?" And Julie says, "Careful, darling, I bite." So this area of the Everglades, known as the Hammock, has been their retreat, a place where the family can camp, cook, and hunt. But they share this particular island with at least one permanent resident, an American alligator that, at around 7 feet or 2.1 meters for folks who haven't landed folks on the moon, from nose to tail, is the largest female he's ever seen. Tigertail's family, members of the Miccosukee tribe of Indians of Florida, and this powerful reptile, which locals refer to as Mama Gator, have lived side by side for much of the 60-year-old animal's life, he explains. This intimate coexistence provides a chance to observe how alligators meticulously shape their surroundings. Through the dry season between December and May, she excavates a gator pond with her snout, claws, and tail, a depression where water pools and she can wallow or keep cool and mate. At the start of the rainy season, from June to November, she builds a raised nest for her clutch of eggs from mud, grass, and twigs, a time when the humans know to keep a respectful distance from the protective mother, because she will bite. And she will beat the heck out of you. In return, for the next few years, they are often rewarded with the sight of the mama and her baby gators in tow. We like to call her Mama Gator because she's everybody's grandma, says Tigertail. In recent years, scientific research is adding support to something Florida's Miccosukee tribe has long known. Alligators like Mama play vital roles as guardians of the Everglades and engineer their environment in ways that protect freshwater ecosystems. Alligators carry around nutrients that feed ecosystem webs, and their ponds and nests provide refuges for plants, fish, and frogs, where plants, fish, and frogs live. New data hints that the alligators may also benefit humans. Apex predator or not, alligators are actually very helpful, and they can change the ecosystem significantly, says Tigertail, who researches alligators for the Miccosukee tribe's Fish and Wildlife Department. Are you okay back there? I want to make sure that the cider is getting to Producer Donna. During the dry season, a lot of animals, deer, fish, otters, turtles, and birds, follow the alligators. Charlie in the chat, you mess with the mama, you get the chompa. If she's of Spanish descent, is it La Champla? Answer that one for us, Charlie. La Champla. For those like biologist Christopher Murray, who has spent decades closely studying alligators, it's high time to move past their reputation as cold-blooded or as cold-hearted killers and recognize the varied roles they're playing as caring and constructive ecosystem engineers. While the cute herbivorous beaver is widely celebrated for stewarding temperate wetlands, it is the gnarly swamp monsters who deserve plaudits in the southeastern United States and many other places, says Murray, associate professor at Southeastern Louisiana University. Julie, quick, get into Champa! Can you imagine if like all the little baby alligators, like a human disturbs them and mama opens her mouth and the little baby's like, get to the Champa! And they're swimming over as quick as they can, but one of them's like super buff. Charlie, yes, it's La Chancla. Back to the article. I think we're just beginning to understand that crocodilians in general, and specifically alligators, do a lot more good than we think. And the quote, again, this is coming from biologist Christopher Murray, who's an associate professor at Southeastern Louisiana University. Alligators are often called living fossils, relatively untouched by major evolutionary changes for at least 8 million years, with remarkably similar ancestors already hunting swamps alongside the dinosaurs. Yet, beginning in the 1850s, the arrival of rifle-wielding European settlers into the wetlands of Florida and Louisiana drove this evolutionary line to the verge of extinction. More than 10 million alligators were killed by commercial hunting up to the 1960s, driven by the popularity of their hides for bags, belts, and boots, with others shot for sport or just for fun, according to historical accounts. In 1967, American alligators were placed on endangered species lists, leading to nationwide hunting bans that allowed populations to recover. Today, the species is recognized as a standout conservation success story, which is awesome, as the population has rebounded to more than 3 million alligators estimated to live in the wild in the states of Florida and Louisiana, and thousands more spread across the southeastern United States. And yet, every time I visited Florida in the last decade, I'm yet to see one. What the hell, alligators? I want to see one of you. You're a goddamn dinosaur. It's like how I've never seen a tornado either, and yet I've cleaned up after them.
I've lived in Canada for 16 years and I've never seen a moose there.
Okay. All right. You have me beat on that. Y'all are more known for your geese. Snake necks. Ugh. All right. Just as conservationists began fighting to save the species from extinction in the 1960s and 1970s, researchers began documenting their important ecological roles. In the wet season, the raised ridges around the edges of these nests are relatively dry land where some plants can escape flooding and provide platforms where smaller reptiles build their own nests. Meanwhile, wading birds build their own nests above the alligators, which act as bodyguards, keeping raccoons and other predators away from the birds' eggs. So basically, like, a single alligator nest becomes an apartment complex for all these other species. More recent research has shown that this is a macabre but overall mutually beneficial arrangement, with alligators being rewarded with snacks from chicks that fall from the nests. Okay. Yeah, that's a little dark. This is a long article. Mike Heathis, a professor of biological sciences at Florida International University, explains that despite its lush appearances, the Everglades can be a nutrient-poor environment. A largely flat wetland dominated by grass-like plants, many key nutrients are carried out to sea by the great slow-flowing seasonal rivers, which are some kilometers wide. In the dry season, when the water levels fall, research since the mid-20th century has shown that alligators' habit of excavating holes created a variety in the otherwise monotonous landscape, with unique communities of plants, animals, and algae around these ponds. These holes can be architecturally diverse, created by one alligator or up to a dozen together, incorporating eclectic burrows and hidey holes, said Heathis, including underwater caverns where the alligator can stay submerged for hours. I really think when Gary Gygax and group were making Dungeons and Dragons, everything about black dragons was just his adventures in Florida, observing alligators and crocodiles. These aquatic environments form refuges, in which fish like juvenile largemouth bass can survive the dry season, but can also be death traps which lure birds in search of a snack, he adds. Julie, you pay rent in bite-sized snacks. Charlie calls it fast food. Donna, not fast enough food. In-flight meals. Private chef. We are going so dark on the humor this episode. This article is just dark humor. We're now learning these are surprisingly dynamic systems. Research in 2023 showed that it was not only the construction of the ponds that counted, but actively being in the pond matters, said Heathis. As the alligators move, they continually stir up the sediment to keep those nutrients in the water. The alligators are moving around. They're pooping in there. That's providing nutrients which algae, that form the base of the food web, rely on. So you kind of prime the pump. You feed the bottom of the food chain, and the nutrients come all the way up. Without alligators, there would be much less nutrients circulated in the water, says Heathis. You put alligators there, and you get food and water, and that's happy times for most critters in the Everglades. All you need is food, water,
and poop.
And poop. Oh my gosh. How much more of this is there? This research also reveals a lesser-seen side of alligators, spotlighting them as remarkably sophisticated and adaptable creatures. The alligator's reputation as a man-eating monster was inspired long ago by accounts like William Bartram's widely reproduced and wildly inaccurate stories of encountering alligators in Florida swamps with clouds of smoke erupting from their nostrils. What was it, a dragon? Although attacks on humans are very rare, these cold-blooded animals remain feared by many as killers, or weird swamp things, says Murray, who has worked with alligators for more than 2 decades. Those who live up close with alligators see the other qualities. One alligator in the state of Georgia, named Wally, was even docile enough to be domesticated as an emotional support alligator, providing comfort and hugs to help alleviate his owner's depression. Despite the reported gentleness of some individuals, it is recommended to stay at least 30 feet or 9 meters away from alligators in the wild. Yes, we have been talking about how cute and cuddly alligators are, and now comes the part of the article where we say do not go and hug the wild alligator. Alligators are carnivores. Did we really need to be told that part? Powerful enough to bring down a wild deer or a feral boar, but naturally they're going to be more of a flighty, non-confrontational animal, says Kendall Osceola, who worked at the Miccosukee Indian Village, the tribe's cultural center. Julie, it's a trap! That sums up Florida. Becky is upset that she can't go hug the wild alligators. Dirty Rogue says they are not friend-shaped. Donna, bucking the norms, reminds us of emotional support alligator. Charlie, but if not friend, why friend-shaped? See Dirty Rogue comment above. Julie, the stares one would get with an emotional support gator.
Good luck getting that on an airplane.
I know, right? Yeah, this is my emotional support crocodile. I got him from Egypt. Yeah, I know he's 27 feet long.
On a little pink leash.
Yeah. Charlie, chompers need love too. Big Godzilla babies. Charlie, no. Charlie, no. No. The Miccosukee learn a strict set of rules from a young age for sharing their coastal homes with gators. We were always told if there's a body of water in Florida, there's going to be an alligator in there. So keep a careful eye on any pets or anything small around the waterline, she says. Yet Miccosukee stories depict them as benevolent creatures, she says. Oh, now what? Becky, my sister, would be the first in line to get an emotional support gator. Charlie, his name is Henry, and he's a good boy. Something ain't right with that Nick Snoozy. Today, alligators have adapted to live in the urbanized environments of golf courses, canals, and sewers. Researchers have been surprised by how varied and flexible alligators are, explains Heathis. Yet research in 2011 found behaviors that have shocked even those who study them. Near Miccosukee Village, in an area where alligators live in mangrove forests alongside a fast-flowing river, Heathis and Adam Rosenblatt fitted trackers to alligators, finding that similar alligators lived very different lives. Some were couch potatoes, who remained close to home, while others were commuters, who traveled long distances to coastal areas. Tagged 2 alligators, same size, both males, 65.6 feet apart on the shore, or 20 meters, and one will not move more than 4.3 miles in total in 3 months, and the other might do 497 miles, says Heathis. While American alligators have been spotted swimming out in the ocean in the past, prior to his research, this behavior was believed to be extremely rare, said Heathis. Unlike crocodiles, alligators lack specialized glands to process salt. Yet this monitoring showed that some alligators frequently venture out into the ocean when there are abundant saltwater fish and crabs to feast on. When we first got some data suggesting the alligators were down in the saltwater environments for maybe 18 hours at a time, we were looked at like we had 2 heads. People didn't believe it at all, says Heathis. And I think it's one of the cool things we're finding across sharks, alligators, and lots of animals, that there's a lot of behavioral adaptability and individual specialization than we would have thought. Bold individuals, shy individuals, exploratory individuals, stay-at-home individuals. Nico says, roar. Julie, next up, emotional support polar bears. No, those are not fluffy friends. Eric said no livestock. He's never said no gators. Eric, if you are listening through Charlie's phone, please lay down the law and say no gators. Or from Becky, or hear me out, emotional support Komodo dragons. No, please, God, no. Alright, we're almost through this article. This is why we only had one flora and fauna article tonight. Heathis is aiming to figure out what causes these different behaviors, whether genetic or influenced by environmental factors, as well as what role commuting plays in cycling nutrients around wetland environments. Already, studies have shown that alligators' ponds are richer in key nutrients like phosphorus, and commuters are carrying nutrients up into the wetlands from coastal areas by eating in the oceans and excreting upstream. We know that they're moving these nutrients upstream, says Heathis. His team at the Florida Coastal Everglades Long-Term Ecological Research Program is seeking a more granular understanding of how this affects the overall nutrient budget of the ecosystem, where nutrients are deposited, and how it affects the overall system. Crucially, at a time when the Gulf Coast is being hard hit by the impacts of climate change, we are also learning that alligators may affect their environment's ability to capture carbon. By analyzing soil samples across Louisiana, Murray was recently able to demonstrate in a study that areas with high numbers of alligators are rich carbon stores, which is awesome. Oh, no. Julie, can I have an emotional support otter? That's more appropriate. Or a red panda. Charlie's on board with the otter, their tiny little hands. Otters are much more acceptable from Dirty Rogue. Charlie now wants an owl. The chat has gone off the rails. This is why folks need to watch not only the live video, but the replay, because there is humor in both. With the live, there's seeing this unravel. With the replay, there's just me losing my mind. And no context. What this paper says to me is, look, we rescued the American alligator from extinction, he says. But what we didn't realize back then was that maybe we were actually doing a lot more for the environment in the context of carbon sequestration and the battle against climate change than we previously thought. The next step, says Murray, is to show that alligators are actively contributing to higher carbon storage in these areas, and how. We have good reason to think alligators are apex predators, maybe as apex predators, maybe playing a similar top-down role to the famed wolves of Yellowstone, whose return has reduced herbivore grazing on small trees and helped forests to regrow. The theory of trophic cascades developed by Utah State University ecologist Tricia Atwood has shown that apex predators are not only vital for ecosystem health, but could have big impacts on CO2 dynamics. This could be particularly important in freshwater ecosystems like Louisiana's tidally inundated wetlands, which store enormous amounts of carbon, says Murray, but can turn into a carbon source when they dry out. In the home stretch, Murray hopes this forthcoming research can provide further evidence about the value of supporting healthy alligator populations, although hunting bans were the most important step to save species from extinction. Efforts to protect and restore populations are ongoing and involve groups who are often less recognized, he says. Among them are commercial alligator ranchers, who retrieve eggs from the wild, incubate them, and raise them through their first years of life in enclosed or semi-wild environments, and safeguard them when they are at their most vulnerable to predation and disease. This form of early years care, known as head starting, is common in conservation initiatives that aim to help endangered animals, from eastern indigo snakes to burrowing owls. But in Louisiana, this is a self-funded system driven by ranchers, says Murray. These ranchers are required to release 5% of the alligators they raise into the wild, while the rest are treated as livestock that can be butchered for meat and hides. In the Everglades, head starting is also carried out by the Miccosukee, who rescue eggs in years when the water levels in the Everglades rise, threatening to drown the eggs, or temperatures fall to levels that can harm the baby alligators. Sometimes I would be at home and my uncle would tell me, hey, the temperature is dropping really fast. It's going to be a really cold night. So get on the airboat and we have to get out there before the cold weather kills them, says Tigertail. Despite their fearsome reputation, all this hints at a future where humans and alligators coexist, with these reptiles recognized as helpful participants in solutions to the challenges we both face, says Murray. If you think historically, alligators and other crocodilians have been revered as a sacred entity in cultures around the world. Do they command respect? Yes. But are they monsters? Are they to be feared? No. This article came from the BBC and was posted on the 19th of April 2025 by Matthew Ponsford. To everybody from the Miccosukee to all of the different conservation efforts, scientists, colleges, and studies being done to improve the life of the Florida wetland and Everglade alligators and show just how important they are. And not be emotional support creatures or hugged in the wild. Cheers. I want to see an alligator. I do not want to hug it. All right, with that, we're going to get out of flora and fauna. We're going to move on to category 4, the wholesome notes. This first one we called Out of This World Birthday. And I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. NASA's oldest astronaut celebrates 70th birthday with return to Earth. This was posted to The Guardian on the 20th of April, 2025, and it was written by, I guess they're just, oh, is that the name? Oh, I didn't know that was their name. Agence France Presse in Washington. Cake, gifts, and a low-key family celebration may be how senior citizens celebrate their 70th birthday, but NASA's oldest-serving astronaut, Don Petit, became a septuagenarian while hurtling towards Earth in a spacecraft to wrap up a 7-month mission on board the International Space Station, or the ISS. Oh no, the chat is still going on about the... I'm already working on the crows, says Charlie. Dirty Rogue, do not hug the swamp predator. Julie, click, click, growl, growl. And Becky calls them swamp puppies. No, back to wholesome notes. A Soyuz capsule carrying the American and 2 Russian cosmonauts landed in Kazakhstan on Sunday, Petit's birthday. Today at 0420 Moscow time, or 0120 GMT, the Soyuz MS-26 landing craft with Alexei Ovchinin, Ivan Wagner, and Donald Don Petit aboard landed near the Kazakh town of Zhezkazgan, Russia's space agency Roscosmos said. Spending 220 days in space, Petit, Ovchinin, and Wagner orbited the Earth 3,520 times and completed a journey of 93.3 million miles over the course of their mission. In the 4th space flight for Petit, who has logged more than 18 months in orbit during his 29-year career. Oh, it was the 4th space flight for Petit. That's awesome. The trio touched down in a remote area southeast of Zhezkazgan in Kazakhstan at 6:20 a.m. or 0120 GMT after undocking from the space station just over 3 hours earlier. Charlie, wait, serious question. How does fire work in space? Like, how does it look? So... there are videos of it because there are studies that scientists and astronauts on the ISS have performed. You can get fire in space, but because air currents are very different, because gravity is very different, because of how your fuel source burns, and how you need to feed oxygen to the fuel source to keep the fire going, fire in space looks crazy. There are videos on YouTube that I'm sure you can find about how fire looks in space, and it's bonkers. Now, again, but that's in a controlled environment with oxygen. When you think of like what is seen from the Soyuz capsules, or when we were flying the space the space shuttle, and when it was coming through the atmosphere, that was plasma. That is a different material entirely. So, yeah, everyone's about to rabbit hole plasma and fire in space. So, good luck, everyone. Enjoy. Wait till after the show. All right. NASA images of the landing showed the small capsule parachuting down to Earth with the sunrise as a backdrop. The astronauts gave thumbs-up gestures as rescuers carried them from the spacecraft to an inflatable medical tent. NASA said in a statement that Petit was doing well and in the range of what is expected for him following a return to Earth. He was then set to fly to the Kazakh city of Karaganda before boarding a NASA plane to the agency's Johnson Space Center in Texas. The astronauts spent their time on the ISS researching areas such as water sanitation technology, plant growth under various conditions, and fire behavior in microgravity. Said NASA. There it is. There it is, folks. I think I just said that. Fire in space. That's cool. The trio's 7-month trip was just short of the 9 months that the NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams unexpectedly spent on the orbital lab after the spacecraft they were testing suffered technical issues and was deemed unfit to fly them back to Earth. Space is one of the final areas of U.S.-Russian cooperation amid an almost complete breakdown in relations between Moscow and Washington over the Ukraine conflict. But let's focus on the cool, good news part of this. This astronaut, who's been with NASA for 29 years and just completed his 4th flight into space, was up there for 7 months, turned 70 on the way down. The limits of what we're capable of as humans, we're pushing boundaries every day. And to Don Petit, happy birthday and cheers. All right. Last article of the night. And this is a heckin' good boy article. I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. That would have been one hell of a cake smash. Yeah, with a Soya's capsule. Did I paste the other one? I did paste the other one. Yeah, I pasted the other one. You might have to help me with those names because I don't have that page up that showed what those names were.
Seligman, Yavapai.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to ask you again in a little bit.
Okay.
A true good boy. Rancher's dog leads 2-year-old Arizona child to safety. This was posted to The Guardian on the 17th of April, 2025 by Marina Dunbar. A 2-year-old boy who spent a night alone in the Arizona wilderness was led to safety by the rancher's dog and was recovering safely at home with his family on Thursday. The toddler, identified as Bowden Allen, disappeared from his home in... That's a normal word, right? Seligman?
Seligman, yeah.
Seligman, Arizona, at around 5 p.m. local time on Monday, about 100 miles south of the Grand Canyon National Park, prompting a large search operation. He was wearing just a blue tank top and pajama pants at the time. The Yavapai County Sheriff's Office said in a missing person notice. Allen had wandered off from his home, ending up several miles away and in territory where mountain lions live and roam, according to a Facebook post from police officials. Search parties continued their efforts throughout the night and spotted 2 mountain lions along the way. After 16 hours of searching, the boy was rescued. Scotty Dunton, a rancher whose property is 7 miles away from Allen's home, said that his dog, Buford, had discovered the wandering boy. The canine had been patrolling the ranch, his regular function, and appeared to have protected and shepherded the missing boy to safety after discovering him. The boy reportedly told the rancher he had slept under a tree. When I was driving out the driveway, I noticed my dog was sitting down by the entrance, Dunton says. Dunton, who owns Dunton Ranch in Kingman, said in a video posted by the sheriff's office, I look up and this little kid's standing there with my dog. I can't believe that kid made it that far, he added. Dunton told NBC's News 12 of Phoenix that he had heard about the missing child this morning, so I knew it was him. He also described Buford, a 5-year-old Great Pyrenees Anatolian mix, as a natural guardian. He goes out at night and just kind of patrols. He goes half a mile from the house, and just makes big loops. Keeps coyotes out, Dunton said. The protective pooch was thanked by police for staying with the boy and bringing him to safety. Bowden was reunited with his parents, and though he was reportedly shaken up and sustained a few scratches, he had no major injuries. To one heckin' good boy, Buford, for rescuing a small child and leading him to safety. Heckin' good boy. Cheers. That is everything we have for tonight. I thank you all so much for tuning in or catching the replay on the Nick's News YouTube page. We're live every Sunday, and our next episode is on May the 4th, 2025. We encourage participation, so by all means, we encourage you to send in ideas and suggestions for news brews, for shoutouts, news quotes, and especially good news articles that we can present on future episodes. If you do send us a bunch of articles, we like it when you spread them out across our major categories, and those categories, again, are science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, and wholesome notes. The really nice articles we like to end on. You can message us on Facebook or Instagram, or email us at somebudgetstudios@gmail.com. Links are in the description. We keep an eye on all of them.
Yes, we did.
Becky, yes, we did fill out the cards. Julie, you're jumping the gun. We'll say it when we get there. But yeah, like producer Donna just posted, feel free to like, subscribe, or comment on all of our Facebook and YouTube content to get that good news out into the algorithm. I'm never going to tell you what to do, but I can't thank you all enough for everything that you have done. Nick's News continues to grow on all of our major platforms, on Facebook, on Instagram, and YouTube. And that is how we are starting. It is small little advertisements, and it is word of mouth about Hope Corps stuff like this to combat all that bad news we're bombarded with. we're getting good news out there, and I thank you all so much. Like, it really is amazing. So, as always, thank you again. I love you all. Have a great night. And I, and Producer Donna, will play us out.